Hello everyone, I am Mr. Law from Excel Software. Today I want to share with you about AutoCount SST, how to check in your service tax before you submit the SST. It's about how to check in through AutoCount and possibly where you might make mistakes. Here I have listed some possible errors that might occur. Then generally we use these two functions to check in SST. The first is the tax transaction audit trail report and the second is SST insert info. Use these two functions to check SST, and how we check with these two functions I have already listed step by step. First look at this one called the tax transaction audit trail report. And this tax transaction audit trail report, first let us, before going into this tax transaction audit trail report, we first make sure all transactions have been knocked off. Why? The service tax is on a payment basis, meaning you issue an invoice but don't need to pay SST until the client pays you. Based on how much they pay, you pay that amount of SST unless it exceeds 12 months. If it exceeds 12 months, you need to pay the SST in advance. This is the whole concept of service tax. If you have an officer receipt that hasn't been knocked off against this invoice, then they won't know that this invoice has already been paid. Then there's this credit note. If you haven't knocked off this credit note, they also won't know which invoice this credit note is applied to. In this situation, the first step is to check if there are any outstanding officer receipts and credit notes. Without further ado, let's take a look at the system. Let's see how the system checks these outstanding officer receipts and credit notes. So, check the outstanding officer receipts and credit notes. I made a sample with AutoCount. First, you need to check the officer receipt. You go to AR, receipt payment here. You see, there are two methods to check. The first method is you see the blue ones. These are the ones that have not been knocked off yet. Or you can pull out two columns. One is the cancel column, and the other is what we call the unapplied amount. The unapplied amount and the invoices outstanding follow the same logic. It is when this payment has not been applied to a specific invoice. In this case, we also call it unapplied amount. If it is cancelled, you don't need to worry about it. If it is not cancelled, then you need to knock off this document. How do you knock off this bill? 4,000, you just edit, then find which one, which bill to apply it to, then knock off and save it. The same goes for the credit note. You also need to check the credit note in advance, so you can right click to bring up the cancel and unapplied amount. Then you see, oh, there's an unapplied amount and it's not cancelled, so you need to check in this document. Once you've pulled out these columns, you can save them in advance. So when you open the document later, it will automatically have the unapplied amount column ready. Then you edit, and after taking it, you apply it, and then you save it. You just save it. Of course, our system will notify you in advance if you forget to knock off. It will have a place asking if you want to process that SST first, and it will remind you once. Then you can process it through the journal. Also, some customers pay you a deposit in advance, and you don't want to issue an invoice, but you're worried customs will say, hey, payment basis off, they paid you, so you have to issue an invoice. In such cases, you can use the journal, and our system will automatically generate the journal. I suggest that even for deposits, you should issue an invoice. Different companies have different practices. We will explain this later. Let's first see what else we need to check before we submit the SST. After knocking off, let's see what else we need to check in before we do the submission for the SST. So you can come here. Let's see. We've already completed the first one, which is before we check the tax transaction audit trail. Let's first see if there are any officer receipts or credit notes that haven't been knocked off. Once this is completed, we'll look at the second one. For the second one, we need to check those MDs, the MDs tariff codes and MDs tax codes. You might accidentally leave it blank or accidentally high press those tax codes. In such cases, or if those tariff codes are not filled in, it will also affect your SST submission. How do we check in? Let's take a look. And here, AutoCount has text here. We check in using this tax transaction audit trail and this SST insert info using these two functions to do the check-in. Also, audit trail is the best to use. Here in the audit trail, you see it asks for your tax date, which is from January 1st to February 28th. So this is the tax date we submit, and we don't need to check this document date because it runs on a payment basis, and with payment basis, it doesn't look at the date you issued the invoice, it looks at when the customer pays. Pays. So after that, you don't need to worry about these tax codes and account codes. Then if you have ticked these purchase taxes here, you should untick them because this is SST. SST does not consider purchases. There is no rebate on your purchases. So even if you fill these in, we don't consider them. So you can untick them. Then untick these cash payments, untick cash receipts. We rarely use journal entries for those SST codes. If you're worried about accidentally using them, just tick it. Generally, we don't use them. The MD tax code is also needed in case you have some codes not filled in. Okay, you can also see which transactions don't have a tax code filled in. Then AR invoices are needed. AR, DN, CN all are needed, but AP is not needed. So untick it. Okay, then fill in the correct date, check the transactions you want to see, and then inquire. After inquiring, we can see those MD tax codes here. Okay, the tariff code for MD. Okay, the MD tax code is here in the tax code section. You select it, there's a blank, so you just check this blank. So you see this blank, hey, this drop, actually, you want to put a tax code for it, even though it's empty. You still want to fill it back in. Okay, out of scope, then you just double click, and then you edit, fill back that out of scope tax code, and you can save it. It's that simple. Then when you inquire, it disappears. So this is it. And then you see there's this group below. You close this tax code and it comes back all the previous listings. Now there's no blank in the tax code here. Let's see if the tariff code has a blank. So if you don't have it, you just find it yourself. This column is just like this. Left click, then you find it, pull it out, okay? If you are missing some columns, you can find them this way. And for the tariff code, okay, if there's a blank, just check it. Blank. You see, these are missing. Hey, no problem. But there are two documents that are sales, and this one is tax. Hey, they both have a blank tariff code. This is a problem, okay? So in this situation, like this is sales tax, okay? So this is taxation. For taxation, you need to fill in the tariff code. Or you can first check if the stock item was forgotten to be filled in. Sometimes you forget to fill in the stock item, so the invoice also gets forgotten. Then you need to go back to the invoice listing. And if it really was forgotten, you edit and fill it back in. But when you fill it back in, it won't update all the previously issued invoices. You still have to go into each invoice one by one, pull out the tariff code column and fill it back in individually, okay? So it's quite troublesome. If you don't want this hassle, you can actually tell our colleague, and our colleague can help you repost all the documents related to this tax code at once, okay? Related to these items, the invoices that were issued without filling in the tariff code, okay? So the easiest way is to call our colleague and they will directly help you repost, and it won't affect everything you previously issued. It will just update this tariff code. So after updating, finally, so this looks like a CN and there's no tariff code here for the CN. You also need to fill in the tariff code for this CN, okay? So after checking, there are no issues, and these do not require a tariff code because they are not included in the SST. These products are not in the SST, so you don't need to fill in the tariff code. You can leave it blank. So if there are no issues, let's see what else needs to be checked. Okay, the next thing to check is what we call the B2B extension. Okay, what is a B2B extension? A B2B extension is when the other party, this customer, is in the same category as you, so they are an SST registrant, and you are also an SST registrant. In this way, you can offset each other and you don't need to charge them the SST. In this situation, they must be an SST registrant and in the same category. Assuming he is a trading company and he buys software from you, he is a trading company with SST. But when he buys software from you, he's not registered under software. In this case, he cannot extend under this software, okay? So this SST, unless this training company also sells software and also does training, and both are registered. How can you check if he is registered? You go to the government's website, directly find the SST, check the SST status on that website. You search like this. Check the SST status, then enter the customer's SST number, okay? Because it's a B2B extension with you, you need to keep these SST numbers, or you can come to this website and print this document out. Okay, this document states that he sells software and training, and he has two services. He sells software, you also sell software, so when he buys software from you, he can be exempt from the SST. So you print this out and keep it. When customs come to audit you, they will ask why this customer is a B2B extension, and you just show this document, okay? This is not part of the system, it's part of the paperwork. How do you check in the system part? Okay, so for the system part, it's the same. You close it, and then in the system part, you look at this customer and whether the B2B extension for this customer has the correct SST filled in. You see, it's not filled in correctly here, right? He has two forms. He charged this customer, and it happens that the tax SST is an extension. You accidentally charged him SST, and it is also possible that he applied later. So for the previous months, he still had to pay SST. Oh, so for the new month, he didn't have to pay. That's also possible. So it's not necessarily wrong. Not necessarily wrong. You need to look carefully. For example, this one, you see it's a 5th. The 5th is already an extension. The 25th is usually an extension, okay? Or you look at that website, it has a date. There's a noted date there indicating from which month and day the extension starts, okay? So you just follow the month and day start the extension, then just note this thing, okay? You can allow its extension, all right? When you get here, you just edit, double click it, then edit it back. However, to be honest, now when we have an invoice, we just create a new one, and then open a new one. I'm just showing you for convenience, okay? Because now I'm demonstrating, so I just randomly change it here to become an extended tax code, and then just save it, okay? And then you inquire, you see it's the same extension code. And similarly, if you have different clients with different codes, you just follow the client's name, okay? You select it, then you check this tax code, okay? So afterward, the answer we need to check is to look at those account codes, okay? So these account codes are usually mapped with this tax code. Oh, usually this account code might be accounting fees. Accounting fees are usually 8%. It will definitely match. If it doesn't match, then there might be some issues that are different, so we can also start from products. Then these products, generally when you sell, it's 8%, and it's not possible to suddenly jump to 10%. It's viewed from two angles, also using this audit trail function to check this thing. Okay, so that's for this audit trail. You see, if I look from the account perspective, you go into each account. Okay, go in and see why this is taxation, why is there an 8% or 0%, and it's the same customer. Even if it's different customers, usually the tax code for the same product is the same, right? And then the tax codes are the same. There won't be two different tax codes. Usually in such cases, it's a mistake. Issuing the wrong one, you can issue a credit note and a new invoice. So because there's a problem with the e-invoice, I also need a shortcut here. I'll just change it directly, okay? Then checking each account one by one is the best way, okay? And see if there are different tax codes. Then analyze why this tax code is different. In this situation, you see software out of scope. Software is also out of scope. Exemption depends on whether it's a customer. This is a customer exemption. This is okay. Others are 8%. Only this is out of scope. Here you just double click this, then look at this order. Oh, it turns out this order has two products. One is hardware. Hardware is out of scope. And then for software, you need to fill in 8%. Okay? Once that's filled in correctly, you save it and it's okay. Then inquiry here, it will help you fill it back in. Okay? This software, this B2B exemption, and then customer A, B, C. All are service tax 8%. Correct? Okay? Then check one by one. After checking, no problem. Then this out of scope is no problem. This is hardware. So after checking, there are no issues with the account. We then check the products. There is no item code here in the listing, so we rely on its description. In principle, our product descriptions are all the same. You need to check everyone. If you want to be quick, we go from top to bottom. Like this is accounting service, 8%, audit, okay? Then software like this, all right? Just look directly, okay? Just look directly. You can check them one by one and see if there are any mistakes, 8% or 0%, okay? So this is also a method. Then let's look at another way to check. Okay, so besides the product and account number, let's see what other methods we can use to check for errors. Okay, it's checking the credit note. The credit note is also very important. Sometimes the credit note has the wrong tax code. Okay, not changing the tax code is also very important. So credit notes usually aren't too many. You just go through each credit note. For credit notes, you look at the type. Here, there are credit notes, all those negatives, and you can sort by numbers. These negatives are all credit notes, okay? Here, or just select this type. Then double click to check if the tax code is correct and whether it's not offset is very important. If everything is correct, then there's no problem and we move on to the next stage. From the audit trail, we have roughly checked everything we need to check. And before printing the SST form, we first check, okay, whether everything is filled in correctly and whether the SST form is filled in correctly. We don't want to process it yet. You see, if we process it, we call it the SST processor. Once you process it, all the transactions will be locked. And when you make changes, many errors will appear. Insert info is locked. Insert info is just for you to check if your SST, okay, the form is filled out correctly, if those codes are correct. So let me show everyone. And after this tax transaction audit trail, the next step we need to check is this SST insert info. So SST insert info, you'll see here, it automatically fills in all those codes for you, okay? It summarizes what codes you have used. It lists the codes you have used here, and sales, this is for sales tax, and this is for sales tax. Coincidentally, our sample is service tax, so this part is all empty, only the service part has information filled in, okay? So this information, all this information, you need to check once whether it is mapped correctly and whether the mapping is correct for the numbers, okay? For example, now the first thing is to check the tariff code, whether there is an others. If there is an others, it means some things are not mapped correctly. And then some products are not mapped to the tax code. This is the first thing we need to check. The second check is the numbers. Okay, the numbers, you see, this is 16,000. Then we look at this tax summary. Oh, 13,000. Why is it 13,000? One is 16,000. So you need to find out the reason. And these are, they have already been paid. That's why they show up here. If not paid, they won't show up. So you see, if we want to check our total sales, okay? Total sales, January sales, okay? So January sales might be higher than your collection. Oh, January sales are 18,000, okay? 18,000. Adding other income, you only have 18,000 left, which is about 26,000. Okay, but look at the SST form. This is service tax. So service tax only captures the amount that has been paid. Okay, the amount paid, you can look at the payment collection. You can export this, and you can also see it in this tax. This is called payment collection. It's actually the same thing. You can also export it to Excel here. So keep it, okay? After you check that there are no issues, you export it to Excel to keep it. So in the future, when he checks online, you need to show him which invoices for this month, which ones were paid in these 2 months, okay? Okay, next we check whether this form is filled out correctly, okay? Look at this tax code, SV, this 8% one, you see it's over 13,000. But when we look at that form, you will see that the SST form here is over 16,000. Why is it over 16,000? If you're not sure, why is this over 3,000? You can double click. When you double click, you will see that this month, the total amount you received is over 17,000. But this over 17,000 is not your money comes from, over 1,000 is custom money. You are collecting it on behalf. And after collecting, you need to submit tax, submit this money to the custom. Okay, submitting this money to the custom means you have to fill out this SST form. So you see, why is it over 13,000? Because 13,000 plus has deducted a 2,500 credit note. So this 16,000 plus minus the 2,500 credit note, okay? Its tax is 200. So the actual tax you need to pay is $1,295.77 minus this 200. So you see this is 095.77. Its summary is checked like this. Okay, so this amount is the amount we received, and not our sales. Okay, the amount of money received, you need to print that listing. You can export this payment collection listing to Excel. Okay, you need to keep this Excel file. When the customs officer comes to check, you can show it to them. Or when you come to this tax section, there's also a payment question here. We'll talk about this later. There's also this listing, you just print it out, export it to Excel, and keep it. After you have calculated all the taxes correctly and there are no issues, you need to export it to Excel, then this listing, then look back at that SST form, okay? This 16,000 plus, 16,000 plus. We will check another 17,000 plus with our profit and loss, okay? You see, our profit and loss is 18,000, plus this additional income is about 26,000. So 26,000 is not based on our sales. That means even without considering this software, it's still 18,000, but we only submit a little over 3,000. This is because the service tax is based on the tax from the money you receive, not the tax from the invoice, okay? So then let's take a look. Earlier 16,000 plus is our sales. 16,000 is the money we received on these two our incomes. So for these two incomes, we received over 16,000. And then you see the tax on this 16,000 plus is over 1,200. Okay, over 1,200. Then we will see, hey, there's also a credit note for 200. So the actual tax to be paid is 095.77. Okay. Then let's take another look. There's another one, which is the B2B exemption of 2,000. So for the B2B exemption, you just listed 1,095. You see it will show here, right? Then the 2,000, you see where it will show. We just search it out. This B2B exemption is 2,000. All right. If you see some figures you're not sure about, and you're not sure why they're in this column 18, for example, you go back to this side, this tax code side. So configure, then bill explanation note here. You find that column. So usually what code is used? Generally, this side has already listed those codes and their mapping to the SST form, okay? So confirm once more to see if there's anything SST insert info that we missed in the form, okay? So check it. If nothing is missed and all the figures match your report, then we can start the process. Once processed, it cannot be changed. So unless you delete that processor, once processed, you go to the tax SST processor here, new, so just next. Okay, so this unapply payment is in case you have that invoice, okay? You don't have the offer, it will fall here. Alright, so look, for example, this invoice, this 3,005 is deducted on this bill, I untick it, this 0010, okay? 0010 here, then we check with the auditor, okay? Auditor here to see if there is this 0010, this bill. So you arrange the numbers, you see 0010, this sales tax, okay? So we probably didn't untick that NOF, we untick that. After we untick this NOF, we come to this SST insert info here, you can check. And then this 8% and this customer A's 8% here. See if there is that 0070 invoice, you look for it here, you see it doesn't have this 00, this invoice, okay? The invoice here, 0010, is not there, see, so we NOFed it, okay? When it's NOFed, then the SST insert info will list it, okay? It will list this invoice, okay? So you'll see, now it will show this invoice. So 3,700, but he gave 3,500. So we calculate the SST with 3,500. You see, so the actual amount you received is this, and the SST to be paid is this amount, okay? So if by any chance you really didn't tick it, don't worry. You see, when we process SST, we use this processor. When insert info can't find the processor, it will remind you, oh, you have this invoice. You see, this invoice is 3,500. This officer receipt wasn't NOFed. This wasn't NOFed. You need to NOF it. Just double click to NOF it. And then when you rerun the processor, it won't appear, okay? This officer receipt will not appear, okay? So after you go there, okay, because we have already checked the insert info, usually the figure that comes out is exactly the same as the SST processor. They are the same thing. It's just that the processor will lock it. Alright, so you can also check it once more in advance, okay? So before we submit, okay, you can print it out now. Just print it out and then you can submit it or print it out and then use this figure to log into the government website to fill it in, okay? Go fill it in. You can print here and then there's a print here. Okay, there's a print here. You can print it out here to submit, like these export attached in Excel. These are custom requirements you use when you need to submit these formats or there are other listings. So when the government requires you to submit, then print it out. So you can collect payment collection, you can collect this, but I don't like this format. I still prefer that Excel format. The previous Excel format, you just export it to Excel here. This has more information. It looks better. Okay, so that's basically it. Apply is just once in a while, and apply is just once in a while. You can check it again. Okay, so if you really made a mistake, you still have a chance to delete it and process it again. But once you commit, you can't delete it. When you commit, it requires you to fill in the boss's information. Do you see? Here, it will notify you that there is still some information missing and you must fill it in, either your name, your position, or your boss's information. Fill in your boss's information. So before you process, okay, go to the next step. So after filling it in, okay, the submission date, after you fill it in, then we save it, okay? So it cannot be changed later, okay? If you want to change, you can also do that. If you change those invoices, change that information. You see, so let's say I really want to change something, the system will also allow you to change it. You see, it will pop up to notify you, but this requires setting access rights. If it's just simple changes like changing the date, which doesn't affect our tax submission, okay, it's still January, then it's usually yellow or orange and you can save it. If it's red, you need to set the password and only allow certain employees to submit, okay? So after making changes, you just reprocess. Even if I missed it, reprocess, I just press this admin and it will reprocess the entire SST. So don't worry too much. We only need to provide this format when it's a custom request, usually used for sales tax. Okay, so generally for sales tax, we just do a simple check, and then there's one last issue. The last issue is whether it needs to be submitted in advance if it exceeds 12 months. Okay, it needs to be submitted in advance, and when they return it to you, we need to figure out how to monitor it. Before it exceeds 12 months, we notify the client to chase the payment, and the whole system relies on these 3 listings, 3 reports. Okay, let's take a look at the system, these 3 reports. The first report is this tax payment collection. Tax payment collection is for that month. The invoices for which payment has been made, okay, the invoices for which we need to pay the SST, it will list them out. Usually, my suggestion is for everyone to keep this report. Okay, and secondly, you can check what we call the outstanding service tax, which is 18,000, but my business has already reached 25,000. So in this situation, we look at which invoices have not been paid by February 28th, okay? So you inquire and it will list out these invoices that have not been paid. These over 4,000 has not been paid. Okay, or if some invoices are only partially received, it will also show up here. Some invoices with partially received tax will also show up here. And then after that, if it exceeds 12 months, so it can also help you list them out. So you can see, now it's the end of December. At the end of December, you want to see which invoices in the next month, year 2026, have exceeded 12 months. You use this method to list out which invoices have exceeded 12 months. Will the system automatically help you pay the tax? Let's test it, okay? If it's over 12 months, will the system help you pay the tax in advance? We just had 4 samples, right? 4 samples that are over 12 months. So let's test it, okay? So now it's April, let's commit, okay? Keep committing until the end of December, and then we go to January next year, which will be over 12 months, right? Okay, so let's see in January next year if it will help us pay the tax in advance. Alright, reaching the 12th month, it hasn't exceeded 12 months yet, and it only exceeds 12 months when you get to February. And as I mentioned earlier, you can use this outstanding to find the invoice that exceeds 12 months. You see, in December, it hasn't exceeded yet, but when you get to the next time, which is February of 2026, when you need to pay the tax, there are 4 invoices. So this is the tax amount, this is what has already been paid. The remaining balance is this balance. The tax, we need $424.23. This balance we need to issue an invoice. How to issue an invoice? You are not issue an invoice, just process the SST. You just submit like this. Here, it will calculate $424.23. Then not just this one, there's also one with 0%. The 0% will also be listed. Those over 12 months not yet paid. How many are 0%? How many are B2B exceptions? Here, you just directly apply it. Then we look at the 13th, 14th, it exceeds 13 months. Then in the 15th month, it gets paid. All right, when it comes time to repay in the 26th month, will he do something to let us know that after more than 12 months, he has already paid? Let's say this is customer A. This is one of the customers. He paid all the money. Oh, this is only 280. Let's take another example. This is for 1,001, and then we take this for 1,120 to pay it off in March 26th year. Oh, so after he paid in March 26th year, you will see this service payment over 12 months. Here it will have this listing show up. He is paying before paid the tax. Those invoices that have paid the tax after 12 months are recorded for you. So for this invoice, we don't need to double pay the tax, even though it's in this month. And in this month, March 26th year, it paid 4,200. However, this 4,200, by right, we need to pay SST in March because he paid in March is on a payment basis and SST is on a payment basis. However, on February 26th, he already paid the tax. So you need to keep this listing, and during custom night, you can explain that this payment was made after more than 12 months. So we don't need to rebate the tax on this invoice. Okay, on the processor's side, there will also be this record. Okay, so on the processor's form, we don't show anything, and this form won't tell you how much tax still needs to be paid. There's no need for that. This form does not need to be submitted. These have already exceeded 12 months. He paid, he didn't pay tax anyway. But you need to export this excise and keep it Okay, instead, last month, this form we will keep because we paid in advance. So if paid in advance, okay, in that system, it will be filled in this SST form. This submission is over 5,000. How much is the tax? Over 400. Then it automatically fills out this form for you, okay? That's how the entire SST is checked in before we submit these service tax. That's the end of my explanation. If you have any comments, feel free to email me at 0149672631. Thank you, everyone. The most comprehensive accounting software, your first choice.